Welcome back. I am your host. I'm attorney Stephen Leahy, and this is the IRS Radio Hour on AM 560.
The Answer.
We're here on a Sunday evening.
Snowy, cold, brutally cold,
right.
Nasty, disgusting. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, just don't
Other than that, it's great.
get off. Just listen. It's okay. We just got to survive these next couple of weeks, and
It's coming. Spring's here. Spring's coming.
Almost.
It's
Baseball's coming.
I know. That's why.
A couple weeks away.
I know.
Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know if you avid IRS radio hour listeners remember, but we had representatives from the Respiratory Health Association of Chicago. Joel Afric came in and talked to us about the hustle. Join us as we climb for healthy lungs and clean air at Hustle Chicago on Sunday, February 24th. Hustle Chicago is Chicago's premier winter fitness event. Each year, more than 4,000 people climb to the top at 875 North Michigan to raise funds for Respiratory Health Association's lung disease and clean air education, research, and policy change efforts. Some climb for the individual fitness accomplishments. Others dedicate their efforts to honor or remember a loved one. More than 55% of the participants indicated that they or someone they know has been touched by asthma, COPD, lung cancer, or other lung diseases. Visit resphealth.org/hustle. Again, resphealth.org/hustle to register and sign up and join us on Team OPEM, OPEM, OPEM.
Jim and I are going to be there. We're going to march up the stairs.
We have a couple other people that are going to be marching with us, too.
And if they can't join you at the event, can't they make a donation?
That's right. Go to
Team OPEM?
That's right. Go to resphealth.org/hustle. Help us raise money for the event. It all goes to charity. Thank you so much for all of you guys out there. They really do. And what a great event it is. I can't say enough. I mean, I am a 250-pound guy going up 94 flights of stairs. All right, if I can do it, you guys can do it.
I agree with that. I do it too.
What are we talking about this week?
Well, what I'm going to talk about this week is I'm going to talk about levies.
It's the blog segment. The blog. The blog. I forgot. I had so much fun doing the Trust Radio Network that I forgot we have a structure here.
We have a very strict structure.
That's
here.
right.
And this is the blog segment. First, I can't really talk about my office without hearing that music. It's soothing.
This music should play every time you enter the office.
I agree. I think it does. Anyway, in my head. Anyway, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to talk about levies, and this is why. Because they're so misunderstood about what a levy is and how it all works. Okay, and here's the difference, right? There's a levy and there's liens, and a lot of people and a levy is the right for the IRS to take things away from you. Okay, and they have to first. A lien is just a notice of their right. Of their claim to your property. So they file a lien, a notice of a federal tax lien, and that tells the world that they have a claim against your property. A levy, again, is when they start taking things away from you. And there's a couple different types of levies. Oh, I wanted to bring this up.
But continue with that.
No, but what I wanted to do is read from the levy itself. Because when they levy something from you, they send a notice to whoever they're levying, whoever's holding property from you. So it might be your bank, it might be your employer, it may be a vendor. Or anybody who's holding your property, they can send a levy to. And in the levy, it describes what you should do. One of the differences in what people don't really understand is if they send it to my bank, right, it specifically says if a financial institution, they send a levy to my bank, the bank has to hold that money for 21 days before they send it to the IRS. What people don't understand is if they levy my bank account, they only get the money that's in the bank account at that time, at that day. So if my bank gets a levy today and tomorrow I put in $20,000, the IRS doesn't get that $20,000 because that wasn't there the day that they received the levy. Okay, and that's what people don't understand. But because there's what they call a continuing levy, or this one-time levy. A continuing levy, on the other hand, is more like like my job. They send it to my job. They say, okay, every week or every month or how often you get paid, we want you to send the money to us. and they tell you exactly how much and where you're supposed to send it, and all. So that's a continuing levy, and again, that goes on until you pay until your debt is paid, or you can get the IRS to release the levy. Okay, but there's sometimes when it gets really complicated. So, for instance, I have a levy. They send it to somebody I have a contract with. Maybe I have an annuity with my insurance company, and they send it to them. Is that a continuing levy, or is that just a one-time levy? And
that's a great question.
That's when it gets complicated, because if you can determine exactly what you're owed and when they're supposed to pay you, then it's a continuing levy. Then they can get it all the time. So if I have an annuity, like my example, and they were going to send this, and now they send it to them. Now, whenever I'm supposed to get paid for my annuity, they have to send it to the IRS, because now that's a continuing levy. So, but it gets even more complicated. So, say I have a contract. Say I own a business and I'm going to have an auction, and I hire an auction company, and we enter into a contract, and they're going to sell my belongings. And then they get the levy. The auction company gets a levy from the IRS. What part of that money do they have to send to the IRS? Do they send it only what they were selling then? Do they have to sell if the sale is in? So sometimes on these auctions, they don't really know what's going to be auctioned until the day of the auction. So, for instance, there's a case where a company was a trucking company, and they're bringing in trucks, and they have office equipment, and so when the IRS sent the levy, they had sold some office equipment. Well, the IRS can get that; they can levy that money. Okay, you can't send that to the company; you got to send that to the IRS. But some months later, they sold some trucks, and the IRS said, "Wait, we're supposed to get that money." But the court said, no, that's not a continuing levy, because they didn't know exactly what that was. That wasn't a pre-contract date and time where you knew exactly how much and when you were supposed to get that money.
Who, what, where, when, and why.
So if you decide that with this contract, then it's a continuing levy. But if you can't, then it's not a continuing levy, and that's important again But here's the thing, is that it's so complicated and confusing. But if I'm a company and I get a levy from the IRS and I don't send it to the IRS can come after me for that money. Okay, so they can sue me. And so people these companies are going to err on the side of the IRS.
Wait, I could get sued?
Yes, and so they're going to err on the side of the IRS and make sure that the IRS sends money. So you're saying, wait a minute, you're supposed to give me that money, and they're going to say, well, I don't know if I'm supposed to or not, but I'm going to send it to the IRS because that way I'm covered. Okay, then as the taxpayer, I can go after the IRS and say, hey, wait a minute, that money's mine. But that takes a long time, and that's a lot of effort, and so that could really delay me getting that money. Eventually, you might be able to get it, but it's going to take some time. Or you're just going to say, okay, let the IRS keep it. Again, people are afraid of the IRS. And when there's confusion about exactly what they're supposed to send, the person on the other end who's afraid of the IRS is going to err on the side of the IRS, and they're going to send that money. But it does get confusing, and and it's very important. So I've been fighting this myself with a client about what is this a continuing levy or not, and that's why I'm talking about it today.
That gets so confusing.
Yes, it does. Well, like everything.
But is there a way that I can
law?
Listen? Can I call you?
Yes, certainly.
Can I call you, get information?
Yes, and so if you're having a levy, if someone sends a levy to your job or for your bank or things, then you should call me at 312-664-6649. Again, it's 312-664-6649, or you can visit us on the web at chicagotaxteam.com.
Listen to that, ladies and gentlemen. Give those good folks at Opum Tax Resolution a call if you guys are having that issue. 312-664-6649 or visit chicagotaxteam.com. It's going to be your hub to fight the IRS. Ladies and gentlemen, remember, go to watchtalkradio.com. Watch Talk Radio is a great avenue to get in touch with our trusted professionals. Watch our podcast every Friday. Well, obviously you're not going to be watching it because, well, you can watch it live, I guess. Yes. But we do the podcast every Friday. There's great ways of getting information out there. Go to watchtalkradio.com. talkradio.com, okay? And come on back on AM 560. The answer.